What's going on, guys? This is the day after the torture test on my all cast core. So I was torture testing the core. Some of the stuff here is not permanent, like this wheel might not be staying, and this riser is only temporary, or was only temporary. And yeah, I've got to build a proper riser for this thing. But yesterday I did a test on the core. I burned the core hot for 4 hours, 4.5 hours, just to test the core itself. Now, is 4 hours enough to test the core? I don't know, probably not, but it's a good start anyway. And that was the second fire. The first fire was burning the wooden core out, and the second fire was the 4-hour torture test. So this is the day after the 4-hour torture test. I was busy today, but I got some time now, so we're going to check some stuff out. I have not cleaned it out. The only thing I did was remove the bell, and there's the bell there. The only thing I've done is remove that, and I removed this. That is 2 aluminum soda cans, pop cans. And yesterday I dropped one of my pop cans in there while one of my videos was uploading, so I didn't get to record the first one, but it melted pretty fast. And the second one I dropped in there, it melted a little bit slower. I did record it. There is a video of that from yesterday. It melted a little bit slower, the second one, but they landed, when they melted, they landed on some ashes and coals and stuff, so they didn't liquefy on the bottom or anything like that. And the stove might not have been hot enough when I was recording the second time, the second can. Yeah, I didn't have the stove really going very hot. It was going kind of slow. But anyway, you can see there's a melted chunk right here where it's liquefied and turned into a puddle of some sort. And there's a chunk of aluminum right there. And all the rest is like melted foil. There's not much left of it. And that's 2 cans melted on top of each other. Can't really get a good focus on my phone here, which is kind of normal because this phone sucks. But at least I'm getting HD videos, high def videos to you guys. So that's the aluminum pop cans. I melted 2 of them just for fun, just for something to do. And as you can see, there was definitely some melting. And the stove, that's when the stove was running slow and it wasn't really burning that hot. Because I had that big log in there for the torture test. The big log was wet and it was burning slow, and I know for a fact that I can get it hotter because I've had it hotter. So if I got it hotter, this would probably melt even more, but I would say that we definitely melted some aluminum there. I don't know if you want to consider that completely melted or not, but there is definitely a chunk there that's all liquefied and solidified. So there was definitely some melting there, at least. So I melted an aluminum can in there. That's cool, kinda. Anyway, what's next? Let's have a look at the core. The core looks fine. Let me get my flashlight. The core looks fine, aside from a little bit of black marks and burn marks, which is mostly up high up here. Down in the burn chamber, where the actual refractory is, down deeper there, everything looks a lot more clean. But there's no cracks. Those are just different layers that I poured when I poured it. So I think everything's fine here so far. Those are just different layers. From that line down is a lot more refractory content. And from here, from that line up, is a different pour. I had to pour 2 different castings. Anyway, the core looks good, and that's what I'm testing. Yesterday I did a torture test, and the main thing I'm testing is the core itself, because I already know that some of this stuff here is not permanent, so there's no point in testing it because I'm not going to be keeping it. Especially this riser here, which brings me to another point. People say don't use metal because it'll melt and blah 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 blah, and you know what? I think they're right. There's some serious, let's see if I can get my flashlight going. Oh, I think my flashlight's dying. There's some serious warping right here. Is seriously warped, and that's not the worst of it. That's just a couple small spots, but you can see that this thin stovepipe would not last very long. I don't think it would last very long, especially if I had a real hot fire. That stovepipe would not last long. It was only temporary, just so I could test the core, because I don't have my riser built yet. I got to build a riser, but you can see that she's really warped here, and for all I know, there's some concrete in there because I use this as a mold pipe. That's just cement. But I don't know. It looks okay. It looks okay, but I don't think it would last long. That's way too thin. You can see where it wasn't like that when I started using it, or when I put this together. There's like dents and warps. It's all warped and dented, and you can see there's like a flat spot here and another one here. So yeah, that pipe really got mangled, and that was only one burn. That was only 4 hours. So if they tell you don't use metal in your stove, they're probably right. You should probably listen. So that's the whole reason why I made this core out of refractory cast cement, because I'm trying to stay away from steel on the inside, like in the burn chamber and the flame path. That's the whole reason why I built this one, to stay away from steel. So this is only temporary, and let's pull it out. Holy shit. It looks even worse at the bottom. I guess some of those marks are from vice grips from when I was taking the mold apart. So, but here's a real bad spot here. Real bad. That got melted. That was from the torture test for sure. It wasn't there before. Yeah, she got pretty warped. There's no holes in it, and it was working, but I wouldn't trust that for very long, and I wouldn't use something like that permanently for anything other than a test, for a short-term test. Now, there's a lot of fly ash that landed in this wheel, but I'm just glad it's not leaking out here, because the bell is supposed to sit on the cement core, on the concrete core. So if I lift the bell up, there's going to